All right. And so, first thing that I want you to do, there were some things you would have to remember from last semester because we're really going to talk about exponent properties in the next unit. Okay, so that's why I expected some of this to be vague to us, but you could have recalled what we talked about first semester with our exponent properties, and the properties of it being a negative exponent. So before we look at the negative exponent part, let's take the 1.5 and let's convert that to a fraction, because we are supposed to be dealing with fractional exponents. Okay? What is it? 1 1/2. So I'm going to do it as an improper fraction. So this is going to become 25 b to the 6th power to the negative 3/2. Yeah, it's a 6. Sorry. I'll do a little better on the next right. Okay? And now, the first thing that you were asked to do was to write it in radical form. That's the first thing you were asked to do. So if I'm going to write it in radical form, that means that I need to know what the fractional exponents mean. The top one means the what? The top number represents the what? The power. The bottom number represents the radical, or sometimes we refer to it as the root. Okay? The root. And so on that, we need to know as we're going to write this in radical form. So what radical is this going to be to? It's going to be square root, right? Raised to what power? The 3. Now, so what do we do with a negative? Okay, what do we do with a negative? So what I would like for you to do, so you can answer this question logically instead of guessing, go to your calculator and I want you to take the number 2 and raise it to the 1, negative 1. 2 to the negative 1 power. I'm going to let everybody do it so everybody can see it. 2 to the negative 1 power. Okay? So if I go 2 to the negative 1 power, what did everybody say it was? 0.5. So now what I want you to do is I want you to hit the math button. You see where it says frac? Huh?
Yes.
Hit enter to change the decimal to a fraction, and what did you get? 1 over 2. So what is the relationship between 2 and 1 over 2? What is the relationship between those two numbers? What do you see? How do you mean they're the same? I mean, they don't look the same, but there's something about it that's the same. They're not equivalent because 2 equals 2 and 1/2 equals 0.5. So equivalent means they're going to still give us the same number, but there's some relationship about them. What is it? What about this? Can I also write 2 as 2 over 1? Is that the same thing? So what happened when I raised it to the negative 1 power? What's the relationship between 2 over 1 and 1 over 2? The reciprocal. Okay? And so this negative exponent is referred to as the inverse. Okay? And so what this is going to do with that negative exponent is it is going to make it a fraction. So this is going to become 1 over 25 b to the 6th, and now this is going to be a positive 3/2. Okay? A positive 3/2. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
All right. And so now this looks a little bit more like what we can deal with. And so if I'm going to write this in radical form, this is going to be a 1 over a square root, because it's squared on bottom, 25 b to the 6th cubed. Correct? 25 b to the 6th cubed. Do we all agree on that? So that's the radical form. Now what we're going to do is we're going to write the simplest radical form. Okay? And so, if I have it written like this with fractional exponents, then that tells me that this is 25 to the 3/2 power and b to the 18 over 2 power, right?
What'd you do?
I distributed the 3/2 to both things, right? And it's still over 1, right? Still over 1. I'm just working with the denominator right now. All right? So what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to go 25.
Wait, did the 3 not get multiplied to the 25?
25 is to the power of 1. So that power of 1 was multiplied to the 3/2. Okay? So I want you to type this in your calculator. You got a clear calculator? 25 rooftop parentheses 3 divided by 2 close parentheses, making it a fractional exponent, and hit enter. What'd you get? 125. All right, and so we have 125. Now, is that always going to come out perfect? We could come out to decimals, which means there's no perfect squares or perfect cubes that lie inside of there. There's some issues, okay? So, any questions on that so far? All right. And so, what is 18 divided by 2? Huh? 9. So this is going to become b to the 9th. What's the numerator on b to the 9th?
Can you?
The numerator. Look at my fractional exponent right here. The numerator, 9. The denominator is 1. What is the radical of this one? And there's no such thing as a 1 root, right? Which means it's a whole number. And so, this becomes b to the 9th. So my answer is 1 over, because this is still a fraction, 125 b to the 9th. You okay with that? Yeah? Everybody good? All right. All right.